I've never experienced a more annoying car with the key fob than this one right now, within like 30 seconds of being around it. So this is gonna be my proximity distance. If I walk too far away from the car, it'll lock up. Look at that, come on, man. That's not even, let me see, I'm like 6 feet. It's not even like 6 feet away. I'm just gonna leave this right here. We rolling? What's up, boys and girls? David Nussbaum at Wheelsboutique here. Another beautiful day in Miami, Florida. We're about 70 degrees, so it's nice and right. Right next to me, we have a BMW G80 M3. One of my favorite cars, to be honest, from the BMW lineup. I don't like many BMWs now. Maybe like M8 Grand Coupe, M8 Coupe also you could talk me into. But a four-door M3, I have always loved. Marvin and I were talking about BMWs before filming here. My favorite one is the E90. E90 is gonna be my favorite, now that I think about it. E90, four-door with the V8. Absolutely love that car. You know, I love the F80 as well, but my favorite one, if I had to pick, would definitely be the E90 M3. But this bad boy here came into our facility for a slew of different upgrades. Now, right off the bat, you might notice the upgrade all the way in the front, and that's gonna be that this area is in carbon fiber now. So when you look at the B-roll, you're gonna see the side skirts and the rear diffuser. That's still a gloss black, how it comes from factory, but the front spoiler lip and also the grille is no longer gloss black. It has been replaced with carbon fiber from Vorsteiner. So this is the Vorsteiner front spoiler lip in carbon fiber, and then you have the bad boy grille in carbon fiber, which we all know not many people like this gigantic grille, but honestly, it's grown on me a little bit since they first showed it off about 2 years ago. Elephant in the room, I don't like the grille. Now that I've covered that, let's move on. I'm not saying that I like it, but it has grown on me, so I hate it a little bit less, I should say. And even more less, double negative, even more less when it is in carbon fiber. This looks really, really cool. If I had this car, this would be the first thing that I would buy, is the carbon fiber Vorsteiner grille insert. So the factory one actually comes off the car. This one goes in. The factory front spoiler comes off the car. This one goes in. So very, very cool thing to have. Vorsteiner also offers a carbon fiber kind of hood that you can paint, and it will have vents right here on the side, which goes really well with the carbon fiber roof. And they also have a rear diffuser and 2 different wings, which this car doesn't have because you start adding up and it gets quite expensive, to be honest with you. So Vorsteiner has one that has aluminum uprights, which would, if you think about the E92 M4, or at that point M3 GTS, which was the 2-door in orange, that had kind of an upright with a wing, similar to what Vorsteiner offers. And then they also offer one in carbon fiber that doesn't have any uprights, but it's still a really cool design. This one has what looks like a white painted little deck lid spoiler, which I'll have to talk to the owner and see if this is factory or not. But either way, it looks really, really nice. Then you've got the piano black diffuser with the active Autowerke exhaust. Now, we did not do the installation for the active Autowerke exhaust or the tune, but the client brought it here as is, and you know, it didn't sound too bad. Guys got these gigantic exhaust tips. Now, I hope you didn't zoom in on my hand when I did gigantic exhaust tips. There's a joke somewhere in there. But yeah, like I mentioned, it sounded okay. It didn't sound, in my opinion, as good as when we had our white M3 with the full IPE exhaust, which you can go back to our channel and take a look at that one. That car, a big thing that I brought up in that video and something that I told Ben was I didn't like the wheel setup that we did from a sizing perspective. I love the HREs that we did on that car. They were S107 SCs, but I didn't like that we had done 20s in the front and 21s in the rear. Now I won't get into too much detail again because you could go back to that channel and see the things that I was talking about for the fitment. But when I was guiding this customer on the fitment, I told them, listen, we should absolutely do the same size diameter of wheel, front and rear. That way the tire profiles are going to match front to rear, which is a mistake that a lot of people do on this car, just because it comes with 19s in the front and 20s in the rear. And quite frankly, I think BMW made a mistake with that, because the front tire looks really chunky with the sidewall, almost like what you find on a Mustang. And on the back, it's really a thin profile, and when you literally look at it from the side, it does not match. And so a lot of people, believe it or not, will also do that mistake with previous generation 911s, because 992 generation Porsche did 2021, and so you kind of go backwards and you've got 997 guys, 991 guys trying to run a different diameter in the back, and again, it just doesn't work because of tire profiles. So I digress, I kind of went off on a tangent there, but going back to this, I told them, do 20s in the front, 20s in the rear, that way the profiles match. It's going to be a 30 profile in the front and a 30 profile in the rear. You could also do a 21-inch, 21-inch setup, which would automatically do the profiles to 25 and 25, but you've got to like a low profile tire on that and a much bigger wheel setup. But I think this absolutely looks flawless, especially with the HRE Classic 300s that we have on the car. The reason why BMWs are amazing for wheels is because from factory, BMW makes it so that they use a very low wheel offset. Now what that means is the mounting point for the center face is really far back into the barrel. That way the wheel comes outward and makes it flush with the bodywork. And when you're moving it away, you're also moving the center face design away from the gigantic brake caliper assembly. So what that means, when you move it away from things that you're not going to hit, you can make the wheel more concave. You can also make the wheel have a bigger lip. Now, typically on cars like a 992 Turbo, for example, you have to trade off one or the other because there's not a lot of room to work with. So what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, we take an HRE Classic 300, we try to do it on a Turbo S. I tell my client, do you want it to be a flat face to maximize the lip? Or do you want to have some concavity in the face and it's going to take away some of the lip? On a BMW, it uses such a low wheel offset that you don't have to make that compromise. So if Marvin gives you the B-roll, you have both a concave HRE Classic 300 and some really decent lip sizes. So in the front, you're gonna have maybe about 1.5 inches to 2 inches. In the rear, you have the massive 2.5 to 3 inches. I'm not gonna get the ruler out here to measure, but my eye tells me between 2.5 and 3 inches for that lip. And again, the concavity profile is absolutely sick. So theoretically, you could also make this wheel with a flat face and get the lip even bigger. I would typically recommend the HRE 540, which is a wheel that is often confused for this HRE Classic 300, just because it's the same general mesh design, but that 540 is designed to have flat face no matter what, to maximize the lip. And then the HRE Classic 300, they created that so you can give the customer the option of having a little bit of both or a lot of both if your car allows that. So some final thoughts on this car. We also did the H&R Super Sport springs, which when it came off the lift at first, I wasn't sure about because the car was a little bit raked. But after we drove it up and down the street a couple and some hours of letting it settle off the lift, it brought the rear back down. So the H&R Super Sport springs, they've dropped the front by about 1.4 inches and the rear about 1 inch, and that's over the factory height. There's also H&R Sports Springs, so the non-Super Sports, which is what this car has. The Sports Springs, I think, is 0.4 of an inch in the rear and possibly 1 in the front. So different flavors for different folks. You could have your factory ride height, or you could have the H&R Springs at a moderate little drop, or you can have the Super Sport Springs, which we have here, which I think is a really cool setup where you can daily drive it and not have to worry about bottoming out at all. And then the third option is that HRE gives our variable adjustable springs. So basically, if you want to go even lower than that, a coilover system essentially. We could also do that with KW, which I believe we did on our G80 M3. So wheels, the ride height, and also the carbon fiber from Vorsteiner. I think this is a perfect look. Obviously, I wish there was more carbon fiber, maybe like on the rear diffuser or the deck wing that they offer. But again, I'm picking nits here. I'm nitpicking a little bit here. You also have the 6-speed manual, which I love. I mean, in my past, I've owned a E30 manual and also an E46 manual. And I gotta say, the BMW manuals, they feel really, really good. I like my 996 manual a little bit better, but these are still an amazing gearbox. Of course, it's not open. It's been locking and unlocking and locking and unlocking the whole shoot, but you can't go wrong with the leather seats as well. This one isn't equipped with the carbon fiber buckets that have the the holder of something here, and you've got a carbon fiber holder of things. I'll leave it at that. But this is probably very, very comfortable to use as a daily driver, especially if you're okay with driving the 6-speed, which I of course am. And so that basically wraps up the entire video. I absolutely love it. Let us know what you think in the comment section. Make sure you go look at our other video that had our M3 also in white on the 20-inch front and 21-inch HREs, and let me know honestly what you think, if you like the car better with the 2020s where the tire profiles match, or with the 2021 setup that we did. But until next time, smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.